Okay, we're going to start with a new photo here. We're going to create a Polaroid. We will open a picture. I've chosen one from my daughter's softball season. That will open in a new Photoshop spot there. We're going to take our rectangle tool. Now Polaroid is square. If I just drag it, I can notice I can make a rectangle, but if I hold down the shift key, it forces it into a square. So I'm going to choose what I want there and let go back to my selection tool, and now if I drag this up into my new layer, drag it back down, there I have place start. You can see this is a much larger photo than what I had space for. So to change the size of the photo, I can do a Control T, and now I will be able to, now the same as before, if I grab that, notice how it distorts it. If I want to keep it square, hold the shift key. That will allow it to stay as a square. Resize it, getting it how I want. Okay, I'm going to turn that background layer off down here by clicking on the eye. This is one thing that I run into quite a bit. I'm new to this Photoshop, just like you guys. When we do something like that, we have to do the check mark, or it won't allow us to do anything else. So I'm going to hit the check mark here. That will allow it to stay how I moved it. Now, if I turn that layer off, you can see my background. Anywhere you see a crosshatch like that, that's just going to be clear. We don't necessarily have to do that, but it'll make my next step will show up a little better. Now I come over to my rectangle tool down here. I'm going to draw a rectangle slightly larger than my photo. Drag it down and leave a little extra space down at the bottom. Now, that happened to be red because I was in red. If I come over here, I actually want that to be white. So I click right here. I can make that white. And now that's over the top of my photo. That's because of how I have the layers here. I'm going to put my photo, drag it up on top of that. Now my photo shows up on top of the layer. And now, as you can see, it by doing that, it looks like it's a Polaroid picture. Now, if I right-click that layer and merge visible, it will put those two layers together. And now that's just one photo. I accidentally did that. I was still in my rectangle too. I didn't want that. If you get something like that, you hit Control Z, it will undo whatever you did last. I need to go back to my edit tool. Now I can move that around. Now what's kind of fun too is if I take this and if I select it, one thing that's kind of strange about this Photoshop is even though it's selected, you can't tell it's selected, but if you hit a Control T, you'll be able to see the little squares. Now it looks like it's been selected. Now if I move my cursor just above the middle here, you see where it turns into an arc there. I can now rotate that just a little bit. And if I come over here and hit Styles, and this one right here will give that a drop shadow. Oh, again, ran into that same deal. I have to click the check command here to let it know that I want to accept what I did. Now hit Styles and select that again. It'll put a little drop shadow on there. Now if I turn my background layer back on, you can see it's kind of a white over white there. I'm going to move that up just a little bit. If you want to change your background color, you can do that. But essentially, that's all that needed to happen to create a Polaroid.